guys, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my podcast, Beyond the Profession. If you're new here, hi, my name is Cadence, and I'm here to talk to you about different professions and careers that people choose and diving deeper into what it's like to work within those professions. Then we go beyond the profession, where we get to talk about the vulnerabilities, the struggles, the barriers, and get a true glimpse of the human beings behind these professions. Before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, turn on your notifications, all the things. We post new podcasts every Friday here on the channel, and we want to share them all with you. And with all of that being said, you guys, happy Friday. I hope you're having an amazing week. I hope the week has treated you well. And if not, you made it, you did it. Happy Friday, you guys. It's the weekend. I have an amazing episode today that I think you'll really enjoy. Today I'm here to talk to you about knowing your limits, whether those are physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, you name it. We're talking about boundaries, we're talking about self-care, we're talking about forgiveness, we're talking about, well, just being human, if we're being honest. A disclaimer though, interviews and conversations are coming. I want to get a few episodes under my belt as I'm kind of learning this technology thing here behind the camera, behind the mic, so I can be positive that the content that I record will actually make it on the podcast. Once I'm a bit more confident, though, we'll get it down. We'll make sure that everything gets uploaded, and we will bring you professions, different professionals, and we will start diving into their lives, their choices, their backgrounds, and then ultimately what it's like beyond the profession. With that being said, in order to know your limits, you do have to know what you want first. We're thinking about the needs and the values that we hold and our own capabilities. So when I'm thinking about needs, I'm thinking about what I need to feel fulfilled or what I need to feel in order to just feel secure with myself. Different values, whether that's waking up in the morning and having a coffee or heading home but stopping at the gym first. Just kind of things that you value in your life that make you feel more individually fulfilled. Also, what you're mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually capable of offering. That's a huge part of knowing your limits, is just knowing what you're capable of offering in the first place. It is just as important for you to know what you want, but it's also important for you to know what you don't want and what you want to avoid. That's kind of the script, or whatever you want to call it. The introduction to knowing your limits is knowing what you're capable of offering and what you absolutely must avoid, what you cannot offer, and what you're not going to be offering. We're also thinking about our responses and how our body responds to things that maybe are not within our capabilities, whether that's an emotional response or it comes from a social interaction or somebody that you surround yourself with. It's really important to navigate a space that you feel confident in and you feel well supported in. So I would definitely suggest starting with looking at your inner circle and the qualities of the people that are within it. And those are probably the things that you want to surround yourself with if you feel that your group of people or your tribe are the people that you want to surround yourself with. Otherwise, you know exactly where to start. Let's be honest. We're also going to get familiar with your capacity and what you can offer, and also talk about your tolerance and kind of where that line is between what you're able to offer and what you just can't tolerate. And that's that line that you're going to have to get really familiar with when we're talking about knowing your limits. Also, it means checking in with yourself often. I don't know if you guys get this feeling, but I kind of get like a feeling in my tummy when I'm not really sure about something, or I'm not really sure how to approach something. Or maybe I want to say no. Maybe I want to say no, but I'm just not saying no because I'm people pleasing. That's something that we've got to work on, because if it's going beyond your limits, you're allowed to say no. And if somebody in your life tells you that you are not allowed to say no, maybe they are not supposed to be part of your inner circle. Maybe that is not somebody that you want to share all of the information about your life with. And you get to be selective. You get to choose who you talk to, what you share. Keep that in mind as you're considering knowing your limits, knowing who is a safe person for you to share and be vulnerable with, and who is not. Also, how are you feeling? Just check in with yourself. How are you feeling? Do you have a need that is not being met? If there is a need that is not being met, you are likely to experience an emotion that gets in the way. Whether that's frustration, whether that's anger, whether it's sadness, it is usually communicating to you that there is an underlying need that is not being met. And you want to make sure that you're listening to your body, listening to what you're comfortable with, listening to your intuition. Your intuition, you guys, we're going to get into that, but it is everything. Also, ask yourself, is your body spending an overwhelming amount of time or energy on something that it seems to be stuck on? If you get stuck on something, or your body is exerting, more energy than you think that you're capable of offering, or it's annoying because you can't seem to stop thinking about it, there's probably also another underlying need that's not being met. But it's definitely time to be considering setting a boundary, because you deserve to feel a sense of peace of mind and not live in a space that feels so chaotic and out of your control. Also, ask yourself, in that situation, where is your energy spilling out? Where is your energy being diverted to? Is it going towards being frustrated? Is it going towards maybe role playing how you want to handle something? What does it look like? What is spilling out? And where do we need to start patching the holes? Also, what is consuming you? What is it that's causing you to feel that way? Was it a conversation with somebody that now you're intuitively feeling like you maybe should have set a boundary? Or is this something that somebody has actually done, an action that has happened towards you or against you, whether it's voluntary, involuntary, anything that seems to consume more of your time or your energy likely is something that your body is trying to communicate to you to pay more attention to. What will this require of you? Does this mean that you need to drive somewhere? Does this mean that you need to communicate with somebody? Does this mean that you need to set a boundary? Or is somebody asking you to do something for them? Are you capable of doing that? Or do you want to do that in the first place? I mean, we also need to be asking ourselves, do we want to? Because you don't have to. You don't have to do anything. You don't owe anybody anything. Let me be so very clear. You do not owe anybody anything, ever. Nobody can require anything of you. They can request. But we're talking about request versus require. Do you have it in you to offer? Is there enough of you, enough of your capability to offer? Because you also need to conserve some of yourself to have a little bit of a buffer between what you're comfortable with and that tolerance. You don't want to be right up against that tolerance if you can help it. You're going to want to live in a space that you feel confident in what you're doing. And if you don't feel confident, but you feel like you need to do it, make a confident decision and then either confidently uphold it or confidently learn from it. Either way, independence is something that you also need to be considering. And whether or not you are depending on yourself for the answers or you're looking for them from somebody else. That's when we get into what exactly do we have control over. You cannot make anybody feel, say, act anything a certain way. You just can't. Like, it's out of your control. If you have control, adjust the give and take that you're giving and make sure that it's a balance that you feel you can sustain and maintain. If you're doing something and you're feeling like emotionally it is consuming, or maybe it's even something that's triggering you because of something that you've been through or something you've experienced, or even a recent event that just is giving you the ick. If you feel that ick, you don't need to stay there. You don't. And if you don't feel that way, it might be time to walk away or create some distance. If you do feel that you are existing somewhere or in a space or harboring some sort of a feeling that you need to do something that you are just not capable or willing to give, it's probably time to walk away, create some distance, start thinking about boundaries, and then communicating what you can offer and what you can't offer. And most importantly, please don't apologize. You're human. You are supposed to have limits, and limits are supposed to look different for everybody. And if anybody on the receiving end is saying that it's not fair or is telling you why your decision or your boundary is wrong, they're not your people. They're not your people. You need to surround yourself with people that meet you with respect and honor and are willing to adapt with what you're comfortable with because they just appreciate you as a person. They love you as a person. They respect you as a person. They want what's best for you as a person. Those are the people that you want in your inner circle. As you start to recognize the line between your capabilities and your tolerance, it might be time to make some rules for yourself of how you'll stay within those capabilities and what you can tolerate and what you're willing to offer. Again, we're talking about what you're willing to offer. You do not have to do anything for anybody. I understand the feeling of obligation, but please know that it does not make you less of a person to say no. It does not make you less of a person to not be willing to offer something of yourself that you just don't feel comfortable offering. Please exist in a space where your capabilities and what you're able to offer is enough because you are enough. You do enough. You contribute enough. You are put here because you're supposed to be here and you have a purpose. Whether or not you know what that purpose is for, or whether or not you know what you're supposed to be doing, do any of us? Aren't we constantly learning? Isn't that the whole point? Isn't that exactly why we're sitting here talking today? Consider what you have control over. It's okay to say no. Let's move on to also recognizing our tolerance. Our tolerance is a whole nother thing that we have to bridge. When we're talking about tolerance, we're also talking about our intuition. Our intuition is something that tends to have a heightened awareness versus what we're on the surface perceiving. So if you get a feeling in your gut, in your tummy, whatever that feeling is, that you experience or that you feel when you're being asked to do something that you're hesitant about, that hesitation is your intuition. Listen to that. You also don't have to give an answer in that moment. You can ask, can I take some time to think about this and come back to you later with an answer? Absolutely an acceptable answer. Absolutely take your time. Absolutely don't rush yourself. Absolutely don't put yourself in a position where you're agreeing to do something that you're not capable of. that is when we start going against our tolerance and our boundaries are no longer being considered or respected. Also, know that if you have not communicated a boundary to somebody, they can't possibly disrespect a boundary, because if they don't know that one exists in the first place, they have absolutely no way of knowing your comfortability, your tolerance, your capabilities, your willingness. They just don't know. They don't know what they don't know. Communicate rules for yourself. Make sure that you are communicating your boundaries. Remember to check in with yourself. It's also not just emotional. This might also be, is there something going on in your life that you're currently working on that mentally maybe you just don't have the stamina to be able to offer that? That's a legit answer. Leave a gap between that peace of mind and your tolerance, and you will find that you're existing in a space that you're able to maintain and feel comfortable in, and you're not getting too close to bridging that line or even crossing that line of what you're comfortable with or what your boundaries are. Communicate your needs very clearly. And when I say very clearly, I mean with precision. I mean, say exactly what you need to say and say it in full. But please, please, please also remember to be mindful of your delivery and communicate in a respectful and intentional manner. Your boundaries are not going to be heard. In fact, really nothing that you say is going to be heard if the other person feels like they're being put in a position where they have to defend themselves or they're being accused of something. Remember that this is not accusatory of other people. This is reflecting upon yourself and simply communicating your capabilities and what you're able and willing to offer. It doesn't require disrespect. And if you want to receive respect, you should be giving it. Also, when I say intentional, I mean, consider how the person receives information, or maybe something that you've done in the past, if you're familiar with this person, that they perceived, or, the communication was just missed. It was a missed communication, missed opportunity. Consider how that happened and maybe how you got there. Excuse me. And then also consider a different approach. Consider an approach that you know you've been successful with that person on more than one occasion. I'm trying to think of somebody right off the top of my head in my life. I actually know a really good example. With one of my parents, I was communicating something that I had learned I was not capable of offering. I was not capable of delivering on. And I had to communicate it in a clear and concise way. And I had to make sure that I was communicating it in a way that was understandable to that parent. But I also maintained respect. I maintained um, a level head. I maintained a calmer tone. For me, one of the things that I personally struggle with is my tone. My tone often gives away how I'm feeling, and it's so frustrating because I don't even mean for it to be happening. I just tend to feel feelings really big. And if you're anything like that, remember that this might require a little bit more intent on your part. I am such a straightforward go-getter type of person that I have to kind of step into a different space where I can move a little bit slower and I can be more careful and more intentional in my delivery, because that just doesn't come natural to me. And that's something that I know that I'm probably forever going to be working on and adapting to, because it's a good skill to have, but it's also a barrier when it comes to being employed or wanting to maintain friendships. It doesn't work when they're feeling like your tone or your communications are disrespectful or demeaning of other people. So please just know how you're delivering a message and what it looks like for you. And if you need to put yourself in kind of a different mindset while you're doing that, that's a healthy thing to have to do. It shows that you're maturing, it shows that you're wanting to evolve, and it shows that you're putting in effort, which another thing, huge effort. Putting in effort to be considerate of yourself and of others is an example of how you can better yourself as a human being, as a friend, as a mother, as a father, as a cousin or an auntie, whatever you are, whatever title you have. Please just consider how you're portraying yourself. And then something else that I also wanted to bridge a little bit with you guys is knowing when something or someone approaches your boundary or that line, feeling like it's being pushed. Remember that no in itself is a full sentence. Saying no is a sentence and a statement. It's clear, it's precise, and it can also be communicated in a tone that is kind of adapted towards that person when you're considering respect. But no is still a full answer. It is still a full sentence, and it makes a statement. And that is okay to do. If you are not being consistent with your boundaries, though, they may become blurred and they may even become ignored because they're just unclear. But also know that boundaries are made to be fluid. They do not have to stay the same at all for any sort of period of time. You get to change your mind. You get to make changes or adaptations or whatever you want to call it. You get to switch up on your boundaries as much as you need to. I've always said in my life that when the goalposts moved, so did the boundaries. So if an action took place, it required something of me that I didn't feel I could offer, or it was something that I wasn't willing to get into, that means that the goalpost moved. And so maybe the boundaries needed to be adjusted. Just keeping in mind what your goalposts are is really helpful in knowing your limits. No one is going to protect your peace more than you will. I promise you that. It is not often personal, but nobody else is going to be paying attention to how you're feeling more than you. People are kind of just made to do that. They're made to be aware of themselves and aware of their wants and their needs. And that doesn't always include a time or a space where they're considering yours. Please don't take that as an attack. Also consider who it is. But just remember that you are never going to receive a friend or even a family member, really. I'm so sorry to tell you that. But nobody's going to protect your peace the same way that you will. So please protect your peace. It's not personal. If you leave the gates of opportunity open, people are going to walk in. Let me rephrase that. If you leave the gates of opportunity open, people are going to walk in. They're going to march right on in because they have absolutely no idea where those lines are. So remember to say no. Remember, if it goes beyond what you can tolerate or you're willing to give, it is okay to say no. And remember to protect your peace at all costs. You want to live in a body that allows you a certain amount of self-awareness and self-confidence without being arrogant. And it is okay to say no. It is okay to respect yourself. It is okay to care enough about yourself to protect your peace in the body that you are in, because it is your body. Listen to your intuition. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but you also absolutely need to remember that if your gut says something is off, something's off. If your gut is telling you to stay away from something or to avoid something, avoid it. Stay away. Don't go. Hard pause. Turn back around. Head on home. Whatever you gotta do. It's a no. Your intuition does not lie. Listen to that intuition. Uncertainty is a feeling that comes from your intuition. So remember to pay attention to feeling uncertain or feeling hesitant about something. It comes with, again, that heightened level of awareness that you may not have in that moment, but there is something in your body that recognizes that it is not for you. Take that and run. Please take it and run. Uncertainty or hesitance is your intuition. Listen to it. Prioritize you. Remember to take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, whatever's your thing. Do things for yourself that make you feel good. That's also when we get into self-care. What are you doing to take care of yourself when nobody's around? That is a huge thing too. We need to make sure that we are fueling our bodies, fueling our minds, fueling our spirits and our souls. Whatever it is that makes you feel fulfilled, go out and do it. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but I promise you it is always the right thing to do. Prioritizing yourself is a must. Practicing self-care so well that if anybody comes to offer you anything, all they can offer you is their potential because yours is already good enough. What they can give and whether or not that compliments you is up to you. Understand that what it means to take care of yourself is also what it means to be true and honest with yourself. Nobody said that this was going to be easy at all. In fact, I'm going to tell you that it's not going to be easy. Nobody said it would be easy. So please seek support. And also understand that therapy doesn't necessarily mean sitting in front of a counselor and talking about, your struggles or your barriers or things that you're struggling to balance. Therapy, in fact, doesn't even always fall in a clinical setting. Something that I had to practice when I was first starting to become familiar with my limits was understanding that exposure therapy is a thing. So when you're practicing saying no, when you're practicing on having boundaries, when you're practicing getting familiar with yourself and understanding your intuition, and when it's communicating with you, it's exposure therapy. You're exposing yourself to something that you're not familiar with the ultimate goal of being a better person and being a better human being. That in itself, commendable. Very commendable. Please don't ever stop trying to evolve yourself because you deserve to be evolving. By stepping out of your comfort zone and saying no, you are practicing self-care. You are practicing a therapeutic approach for yourself. You're practicing a form of exposure therapy. And if that's helpful for you, remember that about yourself. It might come in handy another time later down the road. But again, please remind yourself that not all therapy is clinical. Not all therapy is going to work for you. And there are tens upon tens of different kinds of therapy. If you just look up on Google types of therapy, you'd be astonished. You would be amazed. There's things that like EMDR where you get to use your eyes and they kind of like change the environment and adapt the environment, but it's also in practicing like relieving stress, relieving trauma. It's a different form of therapy that you might not even be familiar with. I'm definitely no expert, but in the future, I can promise you we will be talking to one that can tell you all about it. But you are going to make mistakes. And I just want you to know that mistakes are proof to yourself that you're trying. And when you're trying, you're doing good enough. Learn all about yourself through this process. You're supposed to make mistakes. You are supposed to learn what those mistakes are teaching you. There's also some responsibility that you have. Actually, it's a lot of responsibility in understanding what you're needing from yourself and from your peers and from your surroundings and your environment. And just trust yourself as you move through what that looks like and you're navigating something that you're not used to. Give yourself grace and forgive your mistakes. And when you make a mistake, ask yourself what you're supposed to learn from it. Because there is always a lesson. There is something that you're going to want to learn from because nobody wants to make the same mistake twice, right? Just a few more thoughts to leave you with also before we head off on this beautiful sunny Friday. I don't know if it's good weather where you're at, but it is like sunny, 68 degrees. I've definitely got things that I need to do today. So let's make sure that we are focusing on our boundaries and that we're allowed to change as many times as you need. And the goalposts will move. So make sure that you are adapting and accommodating as you need to for yourself so that you can give the best version of yourself to other people. Mistakes prove progress, they prove effort. They are the most important form of forgiveness that you have, and it's giving that forgiveness to yourself. Let me reiterate that. Let me say that one more time. The most important form of forgiveness is giving it to yourself. When we talk about what is in our control, what is not in our control, we're talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not always in our control from other people, but if you are able to forgive yourself and you are able to accept that what happened, maybe even you learned a lesson through it, and now you're able to move on with self-care, you are the better person. You are the bigger, better person in that scenario. Please, please appreciate yourself. Take a moment, give yourself grace. Understand that that is huge growth, exponential growth. You will get better with time and practice. This does get easier. And when you feel yourself improving and feeling better, remember to maintain that momentum. That momentum is going to keep you going through the end of time. Do not ever allow yourself to stay in a space where you slip backwards and you continue to fall down. At least avoid it as best you can. I understand that there are like outside circumstances, maybe even genetics, like things that, play a role in being able to maintain your momentum, but understand that you can slip up, you can make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes, but don't stay there forever. It's not a permanent space. We're supposed to heal and evolve. One of the best things that my therapist ever told me was that a feeling is supposed to come, but just as effortlessly as it came, it's also supposed to go. And if a feeling gets stuck in your body, there's probably something that you need to process. There's probably some sort of a limit that was crossed or a boundary that was overstepped. And your body is communicating to you that it is stuck and you need to work through it. So remember, the input of the emotion, the output of the emotion, it's got to come and it's got to go. It can also stay in you for a little while if that's what you need to do. If you need to sit there for a day, if you need to sit there for a couple of days, that is perfectly okay. Don't stay there forever. You are going to improve. You are meant to improve. You are meant to be better. If all your goal is for yourself is to just do better than you did the day before, that's plenty enough. You've done enough. You have set yourself a purpose and set yourself a goal, and it's one that you're going to be able to maintain. Just remember that momentum as you keep going. You are still a work in progress. Something that I'm also working on is I'm practicing adjusting my boundaries when the goalposts have been moved. I have been struggling with identifying certain things that are being asked or requested of me, and I'm not asking myself whether I have that to offer. I'm not checking in with myself at all. So just remember to make it a practice to check in with yourself, look inward, make sure that you're paying attention to your body's response, because I promise you it has one, whether you're paying attention to it or not. I know that I'm certainly needing to improve in that area, but that's something that I think we all can do better on as well. I really hope that all of this somehow, some way has been meaningful. I hope I've given you some ideas or maybe even a good place to start. Remember that an effort is a good place to start in itself. Just trying, just getting up and making the decision to do better than you did the day before. It's good enough. With all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to my podcast, Beyond the Profession, and hanging out with me today. I'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, turn on your notifications. We want to see you there next Friday. I look forward to seeing you then. I appreciate y'all tuning in. And for now, have a good weekend. Have a good Friday. Bye, guys.